It's that time of the day where we like to say it's score predictions times. It's game week 6. Let's see how we did last week. It just keeps on getting better and better. 15 points. Come on. Our special guest today is none other than Luke Walsh, the Vanarama National League podcast king. Let's get into the predictions. In the first game we have Aldershot versus Maidstone, and this is a game that I am looking forward to. Maidstone like to bring a lot of away fans, and the away fans in the ground is always the best games to watch. Both teams not on the greatest form. Aldershot still haven't won at home yet this season, and Maidstone haven't won away, so it's going to be a very low scoring encounter. Aldershot coming off the back of a 2-1 defeat to Oldham, losing in the 94th minute. Oh my god, I could have cried. It was horrible, and Maidstone coming off the back of a 1-0 victory. It's going to be a low scoring game, but I think it's one that Aldershot are going to win. My score prediction is Aldershot 2, Maidstone 1. Come on!
Thank you for inviting me on to do some National League predictions for the game week 5, also the bank holiday Monday games. So the first game I'm going to be predicting is Aldershot versus Maidstone. What's quite interesting is Aldershot haven't actually won at home this season. However, on the other hand, Maidstone haven't won away. Both sides, I think have had quite a difficult start to the season. You look at Maidstone being battered by Wrexham 5-0. It was always going to be tough for them going to somewhere like that. They beat Torquay yesterday 1-0. Aldershot on the other hand have had quite a mixed start to the season, like I've previously mentioned. We're only picking up the one win, and that's the only time they've actually got a result against Boreham Wood. Obviously they were very unfortunate on Friday night to lose to Oldham in the last stages of the game. For this one, because of them both being, Aldershot not winning at home and Maidstone not winning away from home, I'm actually going to go for a draw. I think it'll be low scoring. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
Next up we have Altrincham versus Chesterfield, and wow, what a start to the season. Chesterfield have had still unbeaten, and that unbeaten run carried on after a 3-1 win over Barnett. Shamanga is back amongst the goals. Chesterfield played brilliant, and so did Barnett, to be fair. I mean, Chesterfield were very lucky just to squeeze past a very good Barnett side at the minute, but it just shows how good of a quality in their team that they really have. Altrincham coming off the back of a draw against Boreham Wood, making it their 4th draw out of 5 games this season. Oh dear, IKEA FC strikes again. Chesterfield have drawn both of their away games so far this season. However, it changes in this fixture. The score prediction is Chesterfield 3, Altrincham 1. Let's go. Let's see what Luke has to say.
So the next game that I'm going to be predicting is Altrincham versus Chesterfield. Now, there's obviously strong favourites in this game. Chesterfield, in fact, you look at their placement in the league at this moment in time, they currently sit 3rd in the league. Could have been 2nd based off goal difference. I think from now they are probably my favourites, and I think most people's favourites to win the title alongside your Saliels and potentially Wrexham, but they seem to be the most promising at this moment in time. They've had a very tough start to the season, and they've come out of that now with a few easier games based off statistics coming up for them. They beat Wrexham. They got a point against Notts County, and obviously going somewhere like Altrincham, which isn't easy. You look at Altrincham on the other hand, they haven't actually won this season. They've only picked up, they've only been defeated once though, I believe, as well. On the other hand, 4 draws this season, no wins and 1 draw. Something that sort of came to my mind though when I looked at Altrincham, and this was prior to game week 4, is they actually have the 2nd most ball possession in the league, behind Notts County. So I think it'll be a tight game than what people think, but I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 Chesterfield win, and I think with the addition of Shamanga seems to be back to his old self, I think he'll be getting on the score sheet as well.
Next up we have Dagenham and Redbridge versus Brumley, and Brumley continued their winning streak, 1 draw and 3 successive 1-0 victories. They don't score many goals, but they get the results that they need. Dagenham and Redbridge continued their poor start to the season after a 1-0 loss to Euroville last week. Oh god, this is not looking good for them, is it? My score prediction for this match is Bromley 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. It's going to be a low scoring encounter, but it's one that I think Bromley will come out on top of. Luke, what do you got to say?
So the next game I'm going to be predicting is Dagenham versus Bromley. Dagenham have started very poor this season. They've had high expectations heading into this season. They can finally, get a playoff spot. Brumley, on the other hand, have had quite a bit of a mixed start. They seem to have improved now significantly. They're unbeaten in 4, winning the last 3 games. They've only had the 1 defeat against Wheelstone, in fact, on the opening day. I'm actually going to go Dagenham's way here, and I think it's a bit of a surprise. But I'm actually going to go for a 1-0 Dagenham win. I think having someone like Paul McCallum, it doesn't matter how you're doing in the league, if you've got a prolific goal scorer like that, he can get you out of those bad patches. And I think being at home at Dagenham, Bromley going away, this one has to end at some point. And yes, they're only unbeaten in 4, but I still think Dagenham will be getting the win for this result, unfortunately, for Bromley.
In the next game, we have Dorking at home to Boreham Wood, and Dorking will be looking to rectify their poor fixture last week after losing 3-0 to Solihull. Boreham Wood also drew 1-1 with Ulti. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a close one indeed, and that is why my score prediction is going to be a 1-1 draw. Luke, what do you got to say?
The next game is Dorking Wanderers versus Boreham Wood. 2 sides that start the season off very well, I believe, when you look at Dorking. Obviously, they've lost to Solihull Moors 3-0 this weekend. Before that, beaten 2 newly promoted sides in Maidstone and Gateshead. It's been a bit of a mixed start. I think the best result for them has to be that 2-2 draw at Chesterfield at home. There's a lot of circumstances for that. I'm really impressed with Mark White as a coach. Boreham Wood, though, on the other hand, they're already starting to get a few draws in there against Notts County and Ultron. They've beaten Southend and Torquay so far, and obviously lost to Aldershot too. I'm actually going to go for another draw in this game. I think it'll be low scoring. I'm actually going to go for a 0-0 draw.
In the next game, we have by far what is the game of the weekend. It's Notts County versus Solihull Moors. Oh, it's going to be a banger. Solihull Moors coming off the back of that 3-0 victory over Dorking, and Notts County coming off the back of a 4-1 victory against Halifax. Macaulay Langstaff at the double again. What a blur. That 3-0 victory against Dorking meant that Solihull have scored 13 goals this season in 5 matches, 8 of those being in their 2 away matches. Also away conceding 4 goals, so if that's anything to go by, this is going to be a goal fest. Based on those stats alone, you'll be predicting a high scoring game. However, these are 2 very good teams that I think will struggle to score against each other. It's a hard one to predict, so that's why I'm going to sit on the fence. It's going to be a 1-1 draw. Let's see what Luke thinks.
The next game then that I will be predicting is Notts County versus Saliel. 2 sides that are yet to be defeated in the National League so far. 2 of the favourites for me. I think Solihull Moors have actually proven my point at the start of the season, where I did place them scoring a lot of goals. Skunthop being one of those, 3-0 down, coming back to win 4-3. That's the sign of a good side. Notts County, though, being at home, still undefeated, had a good result, obviously, against Halifax, winning 4-1 away from home. I'm actually going to go towards the home side. I'm actually going to go for a 1-0 win.
Following on from that, we have Skunthop versus Halifax. It's a battle of the bottom of the table, both teams getting off to a very poor start indeed. And, I mean, the quality in this game is going to be like watching a football match on a toaster. Skunthop coming off the back of another loss, making it 4 losses in a row. And after Halifax losing 4-1 to the Shaman. Wait, no, they are the Shaman. After Halifax losing 4-1 to Notts County, they finally managed to bag themselves their first goal of the season. Come on! I reckon it's going to be a low-scoring game, but whoever wins this game could do wonders for their season. It could get that confidence going. Maybe it could get the run up and running, who knows? But my score prediction for this match is Skunthop 1, Halifax 2. I'm backing the home team. What about you, Luke? Who are you going for? Are you backing the boys?
The next game is then Scum Bop versus Halifax Town. 2 sides that are significantly underperforming. I think the more significant is Halifax. When you look at them and they had high expectations, I think a lot of people saw Scum Bop having a poor season based off last season's relegation, devastating relegation in fact. I think Halifax need the win. They've only just managed to get their first goal of the season at home to Notts County, which is more of a consolation goal. They are struggling at the moment, Halifax as well as Skunthop. 2 sides, Skunthop having the 1 win this season, Halifax not to get a win yet. I think it's time that Halifax do get that first win and score a couple of goals. So I might be a bit biased here, but I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 Halifax win.
Next up, we have Southend at home to Maidenhead, and Maidenhead are coming off the back of back-to-back losses. Oh dear, from such a good start to falling from grace. Maybe they will finish where I predicted them to, but maybe we don't know. Southend losing 2-1 to Easley, meaning that their poor start to the season has got even worse. Maidenhead have lost both away games this season, and I think it would carry on the same. My score prediction: Southend 2, Maidenhead 0. Over to you, Mr. Luke, live on Sky Sports.
The next game is Southend versus Maidenhead. Maidenhead surprised a few. I predicted them in the relegation zone, actually to finish bottom of the National League, which is quite stereotypical, I think, when you look at the signings they've lost, and I think you look at Maidenhead, everyone predicts them to get relegated. Well, they've sort of proved me wrong so far when you look at the results that they've got. However, they have lost the last 2 games against Dagenham and York. For me, I'm actually going to go for the home side, Southend. Losing to Easley, a lot of factors towards that with the referee and stuff like that. But I'm actually going to go for a comfortable 3-0 win for Southend.
Next up, we have Torquay versus Maidstone. Wait, no, not Maidstone. Next up, we have Torquay versus Woking. Boo! Torquay, after losing 1-0 to Maidstone, make it 3 losses in a row. They've only scored 1 goal this season, just like the Shaman, and it's not looking good. Woking lost 3-2 to Wrexham after going down to 10 men very early on, but if it was for 1 man and 1 man only, they could save the day. For me, this game only goes one way. It ends in a stalemate. It's a 1-1 draw. Over to Luke.
The next game is Torquay versus Woking. A bit of a derby, I think, for Torquay, because Torquay have to travel far for every single game. I think this will be low scoring as well. I'm actually going to go for a 1-0 Torquay win. I think being at home, they need to get results. I think they'll just have enough to defeat Woking, although Woking, have had that investment and seem to have had a bit of a mixed start themselves to the season. Narrowly losing to Wrexham on Saturday evening. But yeah, I'm going to go for the home side to win.
Next up, we have Wheelstone versus Euroville, and back to back. 3 wins in a row for Wheelstone, sitting pretty at the top of the table. What's going on? The part-timers are taking over the National League. Euroville just beat Daggers 1-0, meaning that they have 4 points in their last 2 games. Is this a sign that they are on the up? My score prediction for this match: they are at the top of the league, so I'm going to have to back them. It's Wheelstone 2, Euroville 1. The win streak continues in the top of the league. Well, continues as well. Over.
The next game is top of the league, Wheelstone versus Euroville Town. I think a game where you obviously have high hopes for Wheelstone, but it's one of those like banana skins, because Wheelstone and Euroville needed a result. Wheelstone have only had that 1 defeat so far this season, and you look at Euroville. Obviously they did actually beat Dagenham on Saturday, which was a very, very good result for them, the first win of the season. I think everyone's expecting them to have done poor. They've struggled so far this season, but if you look at the results in factors, they got a good point against Wrexham, good point at Alter, a win against Dagenham. I don't think it's too disappointing so far. So I'm actually going to go for a bit of a shock result here. And I'm actually going to go for a 1-0 Euroville win, which obviously is a big surprise.
Next up, we have York versus Oldham, and this is going to be a cracker after Oldham have just sold out York's away end of 1,700. Amazing fans. After a late winner, Oldham see themselves grab another 3 points against Aldershot. Heartbreaking for me. Brilliant for Oldham, and York coming off the back of a 1-0 victory against Maidenhead, making this a very good game indeed. It's about an hour apart from each other, the 2 teams, so is it a local derby? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments. I mean, I'm not really too sure, to be honest, but my score prediction for this match: York 1, Oldham 2. Yes, I'm backing Oldham. I know I don't normally back Oldham, but oh god, they're going to lose now, aren't they?
The next game then is York City versus Oldham Athletic. It's meant to be quite a high crowd, I believe, from York, the highest in fact since I think 2004, if I'm correct. It might be 5 when they played Huddersfield in the old 3rd division. Oldham taking good numbers themselves. It's got one of those games where you think, it's going to be a an incredible atmosphere, you know, for York and Oldham. But I think it'll be a bit of a disappointing one, and I think it's that sort of regular trend. I actually think it will continue where, like I mentioned, this game week it being low scoring, and I think this one will also be too. I'm actually going to go for a 0-0 draw.
And in the last game of the day, we have Barnett versus Easley, 5th versus 6th, two teams that have started the season very well. Oh, this is going to be a cracker. Barnett lost their first game this season away to Chesterfield, losing 3-1. Although they put in a very solid performance, they had the chances to even square the game at some points, but unfortunately, they weren't able to do that, losing one of their main players, Epson Clark, to Peterborough. I mean, if they carry on like this, then who knows where they could finish. They face Easley, who have just won their second game in a row, beating Southend 2-1. My score prediction for this match, I'm going to back the home side again. I think they'll carry on winning, although they just lost their last game. Barnett 2, Easley 1.
The next game then, and the final game for the Monday fixtures, is Barnett versus Easley. Barnett started well, Easley also started well. Barnett suffered that defeat to Chesterfield, and Easley obviously defeated Southend on Saturday too. It's obviously televised. I think it'll be high scoring. Barnett had that news of losing Mason Clark, which was quite, I think it's a significant loss to be honest, for them losing him to Peterborough. I think it'll be high scoring though. Barnett being at home, you know, I think they are actually undefeated at home this season, Barnett. You know, Easley also being strong at home, but they are obviously the away side this season, having the 1 win and 1 loss. I think this will be a draw. I think it'll be a high scoring. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
And then the last game of the episode is Wrexham versus Gateshead. And Wrexham, have they finally found their feet and their form? Wrexham managed to edge past Woking after a nice 3-2 victory at the Kingfield Stadium. Gateshead lost at home to Wheelstone for the first time this season. They have dropped points at home. Has the fortress turned into a mattress? Wrexham have now won back-to-back games, and they're going to be looking to make it a third. They're at the racecourse. They get the 3 points. My score prediction is Wrexham 3, Gateshead 1.
Wrexham versus Gateshead. I'm just going to put it out there. 2-0 Wrexham. They're just going to be too strong for Gateshead, in my opinion, being at home at the racecourse. Players like Paul Mullin, Ollie Palmer, Jordan Davis, Elliot Lee. The list goes on. They've got so many players being at home as well. If it was at Gateshead, it might be a sort of different prediction. Gateshead, on the other hand, do have decent players like Campbell. They've started the season quite well, but going somewhere like Wrexham, you know, not many sides are going to be picking results up at Wrexham this season. So I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 Wrexham win. That is the end and concludes of my predictions. Cheers for inviting me on to do these predictions. It's much appreciated. See how many results I get. I probably won't get too many. And yeah, cheers for having me on.
Thank you very much for watching this episode before my throat keeps dying. Massive thanks to Luke for coming on. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. It will be in the title. Make sure to just click that at. Go and drop him a sub. He's an absolute legend. If you like watching Vanarama National League content, then he's your guy. But also, subscribe to me. Like, comment and subscribe. Let me know, how did your team do this weekend, or how do you think your team will do this weekend? Until next time, I'll see you all later. Let's go!